Oh, g'day champions, we're back for part 2 of that champ cabinet build. So I'll put the link for the part 1 video down below, so just click down there and you'll be up to speed. So we've done a dry run of the finger joins, they all line up well and they're nice and tight. Now we've got to put some cut outs for the top and the bottom front panel. This is what the baffle mounts on. So we basically need to house this piece so it passes over there, sits on top of there, so we can glue and tack it to the sides and the top. And we also have to do a cutout in the top to suit the control panel. After we've done all that, we'll glue it up and then we can carry on with doing the roundovers with the router and in preparation for covering with tweed. So for the control cutout, I'll just cut out the excess on the bandsaw to make work a bit lighter on the router. Alright, so here's my template. This is a cabinet I made a while back. I made a template for it. It was basically a 5E3 size cabinet with a 5F1 chassis. Before I realised why would you make a 12-inch box and then have a little pissy 5F1 in there, so I ripped it out, made the cutout bigger, and it became my 5E3 that I built probably about this time last year. But the cutout is the size we need for a champ cabinet, so we're just overhanging it past the smaller length top and just taking advantage of the cutout we've got here. So here I've got my top bearing cutter with an adapter, because that's a 1/4 inch shafted bit into the 1/2 inch collet on the router. Just got to make sure I've left the thing turned off. Gives you the shock of your life when you plug it in and the fucking thing switched on. And there's the chassis sitting in its position. Everything looks good, plenty of room there to the jacks. It's sitting on the back there to show that there's no sunlight visible through. Okay, so these panels want to be notched into this area. So I've marked it out where we've got to cut that out. So because the router's spinning this way, we're going to come in here, exit here. I'm going to use a piece of MDF as a guide, and then we're going to square the corner out by hand. I was a cabinet maker, yeah, was. Doing the work's easy when you're not working around a camera. That's alright, I'll edit it to make me look like a genius as always. Alright champions, there we go, we've got the control cut out and we've got the 2 notches there and just trial fitting the top and bottom panels. So let's get some glue out, we'll get the clamps out, we'll get this thing together to cure overnight. So we're ready to go. For anyone doing this at home, just a word of advice: if you're about to glue something up, put your phone on silent, tell everyone not to disturb you, because it's super frustrating. You've got limited working time and it can get a bit stressful. So let's go. Alright, we've got the sun beaming in the afternoon again. One thing I do like to do is just mask the inside where the glue is going to form a bead in the corners, just to assist with clean up afterwards and makes the inside of the cabinet look a bit cleaner, because I am going to put that on display instead of painting it black. I'm going to use some shellac on the inside as well as on the tweed. That will make it a lot easier to clean up when we have to sand the inside. So I'm using Titebond 3 in this case. Pretty much any PVA or aliphatic glue will work. I'm using this because it's I've got tons of it, and it's got no real applications for luthiery work itself because it's not easy to take apart again, but for an amp it's perfect. Now once we get the glue on there, the timber fibers are going to start expanding, and it's going to get harder and harder to put this thing together. So you got to work relatively quickly, I say as I fumble both on my words and the workpiece. Starting to tighten up there quite a bit as the timber fibers expand with the moisture of the glue. not an issue with epoxies, but any water-based glue, you're going to get some degree of that occurring. Now, to stop it from sticking to the table, put a piece of tape there, piece of tape about there, just so the glue won't glue itself to the table. You could use a cleat to sort of even out the pressure, or just work your way up and down and then settle in the center, which is what I'll do here. Once you've overcome the hydraulic pressure of the glue in the joint, it tends to settle in rather easily. Just give it a pump there, give it a pump up the top. Pump it up, come on now, and settle in the middle. Alright, now we want to check the diagonals to make sure the thing's more or less square. So we've got 458. We've got 458. Sweet. If it's a bit out, you just put a clamp diagonally to pull it one way or the other, so the both measurements end up the same, and that tells you that it's square enough for rock and roll. Righto, next we'll apply some glue for the top and bottom panels. We're just going to fit them with the brad gun with some 25mm nails in it. Between that and the glue, plenty of strength. Alright, here we go. Sitting about 1/2 mm proud either end, which is what we want. That nail in the corner will also lock in that finger joint. Now that's one thing that's a bit of a pain in the ass. Although shooting straight, because the differential between the hard and soft wood in the grain of the pine is so dramatically different, the nails will often follow the grain. So you can see on the end there, the grain sort of curls around this way, and the nails have just taken the path of least resistance and curled their way sideways. No biggie, we're covering it in tweed, remember, so I'll just punch them in with the nail punch once everything's set and cured, and then we'll just putty the hole just so you don't see any indents through the tweed. In my early years as a cabinet maker, I was holding a piece together like this and I was nailing, and it actually blew off my whole thumbnail, so I learned to keep my hand well clear from that point forward. We'll leave that to set overnight, and then we'll start prepping once it's cured in the morning. Alright champions, the glue head's cured. We've taken it out of the clamps. We're just going to belt sand. It's the quickest way to clean up and flush everything and get rid of the glue residue on the outside. The inside came up really nice because we masked it. A lot easier to clean up than if we didn't, because as previously mentioned, I am going to shellac the inside of this as opposed to painting it black, which you can do too, but I like the look of the shellac. Looks a little bit more traditional for the tweed cabs. Alright, we're back to the big boy router, the Hitachi M12VE. And we've just got our 1/2 inch follow bearing round over cutter set flush with the bed of the router. Now I'll just give it a bit of a sand to smooth off the raised grain and any inconsistencies from the router. It's hard to hold it vertically, especially on those pieces there. You can do it the other way around, but it's a bit quicker to just do the 4 verticals and then just do each face. The finish off the router is never perfect. There's always a little bit of ripples and whatever due to the surface that it's running on. Now, as I mentioned before, at least I think I mentioned before, we'll leave this corner sharp because we want the fabric to fold over here and the fabric to fold over here and have a nice tight join there. If we had a round over, it would complicate that join. We want the strength to be pretty strong there. You kind of got to think about how the fabric's going to work before shaping any part of the cabinet. In this section here, the fabric is going to want to stretch as it folds around. It's going to want to push out this way. So you've got to put a relief cut in it, as I'm sure you've seen on many modern and vintage amps. You've got to put a relief cut, sort of forms a V, and then you've got to insert a little triangle piece underneath which fills that gap up. You can apply a bit of heat to this tweed and it does give it a fair bit of give, but not quite that much. So now what I want to do is put like a 2mm round over, just so the fabric's not trying to fold and glue to a knife edge because it can't bend like that. We want it to be a very small radius round over on the inside edge. So we'll just do that with sandpaper. You can use a router bit as well. It's kind of a specialist router bit though, so your average hardware doesn't have that. So we'll just use a bit of 80 grit, 100 grit, something like that. That's about all you're after there for the round over, the arris on the inside, just so the fabric can fold over nicely, just like a little 2mm bead. And there she is. So next thing we'll do is drill the holes in the top and bottom front panels for the baffle, and then we'll mount 2 cleats inside, glue and nail them to fit the rear panels. Now I sit the baffle inside to use just to make sure we get those holes perfectly aligned, and just use some packers to make sure everything's centered so it's not pushing off to one side. That will allow for the thickness of the grill cloth and the tweed. Now looking at the angle of the baffle, it's pretty easy to drill the top screw holes in the front from the inside, but where it's angled back the other way, it's a little bit difficult. You're trying to fight the drill from knocking against the bottom. So I'll drill the top ones and then I'll move the baffle to the outside, align it with a screw, and then drill the bottom ones from the outside in. You can pre-drill them too beforehand, but this way, like if anything shifted a little bit during the glue up process, we're guaranteed that the holes will be aligned because we're doing it after the glue up. So just drilling the holes out for a bit of clearance. 5mm drill for a 4mm screw. Just a little bit of play there, but that will vary depending on what screw sizes you're using. I'm using these little beauties here. They're made out of brass. Got a sort of aging to them. M4, and I just cut them down to suit whatever length I need, and give them a bevel on the belt sander. I think I got them from eBay. I've had them for so long I can't remember. It can be a bit difficult to get ornamental screws these days from anywhere other than, you know, the dodgy vendors like eBay or whatever. Now that all the, you know, high-end woodworking and arts and crafts shops have sort of gone online or disappeared completely. Alright, so just a quick trial fit, make sure everything lines up. That's all fitting nicely. Our gaps are pretty even. Nothing had to be forced. And it's looking cuter and cuter with every assembly step. They are cute little things, aren't they? While we're there, we'll just mark the screws. Oh, and the cabinet. With the texture. So we know where to cut them off. And the added thickness of the tweed and the grill cloth will make it sit slightly below the surface. So next we'll put our cleats on the side, just nail and glue with some Type 1-3. So to find the setback, we want 2 layers of tweed. I keep going to call it Tolex. 2 layers of tweed and whatever thickness rear panel you're using. In this case we're using 9mm, so that works out to about 11 mil with a little bit of tolerance. So we'll mark our spots there. We don't have to rule a full line, just 2 little dashes either end. 1 either end, I should say. And that will, now when we're in the right spot, shove a nail in it, bro. Just a small bead of glue. Don't need tons. Spread her out. And in she goes. And out comes the ka-chunk gun. Now try and put the nails where there's not going to be a screw. So we'll be 20mm in top and bottom, and there will be about 10mm in top and bottom. The same goes on the other side. Now I also just like to chuck a couple of clamps on there, just make sure it's pulled up all the way, let that cure overnight. Alright champions, I know I said I was going to try and fit everything into 2 videos, but I think covering the thing warrants its own video because it is a pretty detailed process, and there's plenty of ways you can go wrong. So we might leave this one here, and we'll see you on the covering one. Until then.